All right, welcome everyone to the Town of McCandless May 10th, 2021 town meeting. We will begin our meeting with a pledge of allegiance led by Councilmember Smith.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for
which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. I'd like to remind everyone to please, if you would like to speak during public comment, you can during this time put your name in the chat box if you're a McCandless resident with your address, so that during the public comment time, you can have your 5 minutes to speak. All right, other announcements. This one is for council. Please remember to do your required training for your certification in the National Incident Management System. If we have to be compliant with PEMA and FEMA for Allegheny County. Also, please submit garden photos for the 2021 garden party. The activities committee is having sponsoring that. The last day is 5/23. I don't want it to just be my pictures, but I'm okay with that if it is. So turn in your pictures if you have some. Also, the Hidden Heritage Scavenger Hunt is going on. That's April 30th through June 2nd. Details are on the website, as well as the Heritage Center who's sponsoring that. Get your scavenger hunt material there. There are also several openings on committees. If you or someone you know is interested, junior council member, technology and activities committee, all have openings. Also, I would like to announce that with the COVID restrictions kind of easing, the town is going to accept pavilion permits on June 1st. And the police department will also begin fingerprinting as well as accepting expired or unwanted prescription medications also on June 1st. So also we are still continuing at spring. We are still continuing our tree planting program. So if you plant any new trees this year, please document that on the town website. We get credit for our stormwater remediation for every tree that you plant. So please let us know. All right, next under announcements is we have a Citizen Award presentation. The Citizen Award of recognition is given to individuals who have been judged to significantly contribute to the local community, demonstrating leadership, enhancing community life, inspiring qualities as a role model, and bring about positive change and added value to the community. The nomination has been submitted and agreed upon by council to present Dr. John R. Ory with the McCandless Citizen Award of Recognition. Doc Ory, as he is known, is a 71-year McCandless resident. He has been a pioneer physician at UPMC Passavant Hospital for 55 years. Doc Ory is passionate about healthcare. On Tuesdays, his days off while he was in practice, he provided free healthcare to interstate city schools, communities, and clinics to families who could not always afford to pay. Always taking a couple of his 9 children with him to help occupy the children in the waiting room. He was a volunteer physician for North Catholic football and basketball, as well as Duquesne football. Throughout his life, Doc Ory collected and donated medical supplies to needy organizations. Throughout his retirement, Doc Ory has been an active volunteer at his home parish of St. Alexis here in McCandless, participating in clothing drives and collections for veterans, victims of domestic violence and homeless community centers. Thank you, Doc Ory, for your lifelong commitment to enriching and enhancing the lives of others. I would like to present you with a certificate of award that reads, in recognition of several decades of compassionate professional and voluntary service, including providing medical care at no charge for people in financial distress, including at his office, at inner city clinics, and for sports teams at inner city schools, making patients feel as if they were part of his family, serving as a team doctor for school sports teams, donating medical supplies to organizations in need, participating in annual clothing drives, and serving as a volunteer at St. Alexis Parish. Thank you, Dr. Ori. Would you like to say a few words for us?
I am just going to take a second to unmute them because they have a phone number they're calling in from, I think.
No, I know Dr. Ori is right here.
He's got a video box, but it's not merged with his audio. However, I have sent an unmute request to the phone number that shows up associated with it. Let's see if that worked.
Okay.
All right, you should be good to speak.
Doc Ori, did you want to say a few words?
Not working, RJ.
Yeah, I apologize for interrupting. I think maybe if there's a phone receiver you're using or a speaker, if you could just move it closer to him, please.
I am very sorry we're not able to hear you.
I'm going to try one more thing here.
Here we go.
Hmm.
Okay, can you hear us now?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, Dad, go ahead.
Start over.
Do your thing. Say what you want to say. Just say what you want to say. You were muted, unfortunately.
Start again.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
As a McCandless resident for over 74 years, I'm honored and deeply humbled by McCandless Township bestowing this citizen reward on me. I am overwhelmed with this great joy, seeing my children and grandchildren joining me on this special meeting. For I was informed prior to the meeting that my grandsons, Patrick, Jimmy, and Andrew Ori, collaborated together to submit this application on behalf of all my 9 children and 7 grandchildren. I am blessed to have this wonderful family. All of them mean the world. I only wish my late wife, Jean Lally Ori, and her daughter, Judy Ori, were here with me tonight to share this special moment with me. Thank you.
It's our pleasure. Thank you very much. Well-deserved award.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, we will move on to the meeting minutes. Were there any corrections or additions to April 26 meeting minutes? All right, hearing none, is there a motion to accept the minutes as submitted?
So moved.
Councilmember Clunin, second.
Second.
Okay, Councilmember Smith. It does help when you raise your hand when you're speaking too, so because sometimes the visual is a little easier for me than when your voices go together, so thank you. All right, there's been a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The motion The minutes are accepted as submitted. All right, this is the time for public comment. I'll say again, if you have not already put your name and your address in the chat box, you're a McCandless citizen, resident, excuse me, then you will have 5 minutes to speak, and we will, RJ will open the mic in the order in which you appear in the chat box.
Okay, so I had one person sign up to speak ahead of time, which is Patrick Ori, but I'm not 100% sure which user that would be on here, because we've got a couple Oris still. Oh, it's under Aaron. Thank you, Aaron. Okay, I will send you a mic and camera request now.
Hello. Aaron?
They are on screen, but I just need them to accept the unmute.
There we go.
Oh, hi guys. My name is Patrick Ori. I'm Dr. Ori's grandson. I just wanted to take a moment and thank all of you for giving this award to my grandfather tonight. Not only has he inspired me, but he's also inspired everyone in my family and the community throughout his life. It is an honor that we were able to celebrate this with you this evening, and thank you all and have a good night.
Thank you so much, Patrick. Are there any other public comments?
Yes, I've got Irene Caliendo. Just need to find her in here. There we go.
All right. All right, Irene.
Hi, this won't even take the 5 minutes. I just have a request that I think is appropriate for a public service announcement, if you will, that perhaps council might agree to put on our website. I'm sure everyone on the call is aware that May 18th is the primary, and probably also everyone at this meeting is aware that there are 5 issues, 3 constitutional amendments and 2 other questions on the ballot that independents and Green Party and libertarians and everyone who's not a registered Democrat or a registered Republican may vote on. But doing my little anecdotal survey in my neighborhood and having several independents as my neighbors, they are unaware of this. And so I think it would be useful if somewhere you would put prominently on the town website that there are questions on the ballot, and every registered voter, regardless of independent or other party, may vote on those questions on May 18th.
I think that's an excellent suggestion, Irene. And perhaps we can make a notice of that, and John can put that on our sites.
Thank you.
Mhm. All right. Are there any other public comments, RJ?
You know what? I believe that there is one person here this evening working on an Eagle Scout badge, and I am not sure if he'd like to speak, but I'm gonna send him a mic request just in case. Joseph, if you would like to say hello, or you know, any public comment or anything like that. Trish, did you know if he had anything to say?
I'm not sure. I just checked in with Dad.
There he is.
Okay, good. This is my neighbor. I'm very proud and happy to say we're going to have a soon-to-be Eagle Scout on our street again. I'm very excited for it.
Congratulations.
Oh, I think that I can see him speaking, but I don't hear anything coming out for the audio.
We're not able to hear you, Joseph. If I had known you were going to attend the meeting, I would have gotten some information on you and introduced you properly, as well as your pack number or scout number. Wouldn't be pack, sorry, your scout number. But I didn't know you were going to be here. And we still can't hear you.
I just tried a backup for the audio. For I think his father is on the call as well, but it doesn't appear to be helping, unfortunately.
The-
There,
There it is.
yes.
Oh,
Hello. Sorry about that. I'm Joseph Thompson here with Group 596. I'm sitting in for my citizenship in the community badge.
Thank you. RJ, I believe, I know the audio's not working for us right now, but Joseph is with Aquinas Academy. Is that right? Which troop? It's, I forget the number of 596. And thank you for being here with us this evening too.
all right. Sorry for the technical difficulties there, Joseph. Zoom seems to be having some really fun audio adventures tonight. However, we appreciate you being here. I don't believe that I have anyone else signed up to speak for public comment. Again, type your name and address in the chat if you had intended to make one, but I don't see anyone else signing up right now.
All right, we'll move on to reports from committees. Finance and Personnel Committee.
Madam President, we have two things tonight. The first is to review checklisting number 4, dated April 1st, 2021 to April 30th, 2021, totaling $1,482,476.89 is submitted to each member of council and posted on the bulletin board and town website. Don't know if anybody had questions on any of the checks and if Trish is here to answer them.
I am here and available to answer any questions you might have.
Okay. Hearing none, we will go on to the second item to review the monthly financial summary and dashboard report as shared with everybody. Again, Trish is here to answer any questions.
So the report was posted on SharePoint. We are consistently moving through the year comparably to last year. If anyone has any questions, I am happy to address them, or you can shoot me an email after or during the meeting.
Okay. Hearing none, that concludes my report.
Zoning Committee. We have a couple of plans that are coming forward later this month. And a couple of things we're going to talk about tonight. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask them. RJ, where are we on our RFP for our zoning overhaul?
It is in the process of being drafted, should be ready to go within, I'd say definitely by the end of the month, maybe in the next 2 weeks.
Okay, all right, great. Okay, Public Works Committee.
You skipped over public safety.
Excuse me, so sorry, I have so many notes down the side of the page, I went right past it. All right, thank you, Caroline. Thank you, Councilmember Swagger, Public Safety.
Okay. So we have Ryan's report. If there's any questions, he is on the call. As you can see, April was a busy month for our department. Are there any questions, comments? Okay, hearing none, then this closes the Public Safety Committee part.
Now Public Works.
Thank you, Madam President. Jeff Shaneman is on the call. He's provided a really nice report, but I'd like to give him a moment to make some comments about it. Jeff, are you available?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Report's just a quick summary. I did include a couple pictures. I wanted folks to get an idea of the size and kind of the process when replacing the storm sewer lines and inlets. So put that on there. I thought it would be kind of interesting for people to see. And the rest of the report is I guess pretty self-explanatory, but if anyone has any questions, feel free. I do want to let everyone know the paving program, we're thinking right towards the end of this month it will start. I don't know about how things were done in the past, but I fully intend to over-communicate what we're doing and the steps in between with McAllister and me, and also with our website.
Thank you, Jeff. Does anyone have any questions? Okay, that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Services Committee.
Thank you, Madam President. The Fire Marshal's report for the month of March and the permit report for April, as well as Code Enforcement's violation complaint statistics report for April, are enclosed in Council's packet. Fire Marshal Stack also did report. I think most all of you are aware, but there were two major incidents on May 2nd and 3rd this month. A house fire, unfortunately, with a fatality, and a serious car into house accident with injury. So so our fire and police had a busy couple of days there. If anyone has any questions, I know the Fire Marshal Stack is here tonight. Hearing none, and that completes my report.
Recreation Committee.
Thank you, Madam President. The various committees and groups, including the library, the Heritage Center, the Activities Advisory Committee, and even our junior council person, have been busy working on new ideas to bring our community back together post-COVID. And I just, we don't have, hopefully we'll have a calendar of events coming here soon for our citizens to start taking part in more and enjoying the many activities we have planned for you. I don't know if Bob has anything to add.
But we will put the a calendar together for everybody. We're hard at work on those plans, and we'll have some good things to bring to you in the next month or so.
And if there's any questions, please let me know. That concludes the report. Thank you.
All right, let's move on to old business. We have, RJ, do we need to update anything on the subdivision?
No, I will send the representative for the sisters a mic and camera request just in case, but this one's pretty straightforward. We have the access easement, letter of intent basically, that was requested to verify that there would be independent access to that parcel 2. So it is presented otherwise the same for your consideration.
Are there any questions for Mr. Hamp? Okay. All right, there are no questions. Would someone, I'm opening the floor for a motion. Councilmember Spanholz?
I move to approve the preliminary/final subdivision application submitted by the Sisters of Divine Providence, located at 9000 Babcock Boulevard, block lot 827-N-338, contingent upon all items being addressed as identified and the town engineer's review letter dated February 24th, 2021.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, Councilmember Smith. Again, any questions, comments? All right, hearing none. All those in favor of approval, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries.
Thank you very much for your time and appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you. Continued discussion of the volunteer firefighters real estate tax credit.
I just wanted to follow up with you all on the discussion that started the last meeting. I was able to provide you with some additional information on averages that we pay out currently through the earned income tax credit, estimated the average for the proposed real estate tax credit, showing what maximum value would be on that based on those who would qualify. I'm just looking for a little bit of direction. If you're looking for a fixed dollar amount, it's just a matter of us sorting out what that amount would be. You've also provided you with some information on costs associated with from the town that benefit the firefighters individually throughout the course of the year, so that you had all of that information in front of you. Any questions on what we passed out? Sense of direction that you'd like to go?
Bob, for the current method, the real estate tax credit, we don't currently have that, right? Or do we?
No, we do not currently offer a real estate tax credit. We only offer the earned income tax credit.
Yeah, so that's just what it would be if we kind of passed it as we were considering it.
Yes.
So far.
Yes, that's correct.
In my opinion, just from the numbers that you've shared with us, Bob, I think I'd prefer a flat rate. I'd be in favor of something like that. That would be able, we could, say thanks to those people that are retired and those people still working for the service they do for our community.
Councilmember Clunin, are you thinking a flat rate for the retired people or just a flat rate for all firefighters, period?
I would say for all firefighters, period.
Okay. Did you have a suggestion on what that?
That's, I don't have, I've looked at what Bob has shared, and I'm not sure. I feel like I need to do a little more research on what, so we're in line with other communities as well. I'm not sure. I know that there is credit offered to many other communities, as we've discussed on council before. But just to see, we want to, we don't want to burden the town with extraordinary costs, but we want to make sure it's significant enough for these men and women to know that we appreciate what they do.
I was going to say I'm in favor for a flat. Honestly, looking at the numbers, looking at the 423.57, I would be fine with a 425 across the board for everyone. Because they all, just even looking at the last few weeks and all the different calls that they've responded to, they deserve some kind of appreciation. And, in the grand scheme of things, I think this is so minor compared to how much time and commitment that they give to the town. So that's my quick spiel before I start coughing again.
Madam President?
Yes.
I have a question. I just want to, we can't give them more credit than they pay in taxes, right?
That's correct.
So for instance, if the median home value is, 239.5, and so we're assuming then that someone who is retired, that's how they would benefit from this. If they're only paying in $296, then we can't give them back $425.
just so that, so that everyone understands, we would have to do this in a series of steps if we were going to make this move, because if you recall back in November, or December, we authorized the earned income credit for 2021 for the volunteers who are currently working. So they have, or they are currently receiving that credit for the EIT. So we would have to take this a step at a time, but my thinking is that if you're going to go in this direction, that you would need to essentially rescind at a stated time that earned income tax and then pay outside of this act, just make a contribution or provide a gift or a stipend to the volunteer firemen. It would not be part of any kind of a credit program. It would be independent.
When we originally looked at this program, this is not a program that we're required to participate in. It was a recommended program by some of the surrounding, I can't remember, was it county or state that made a tax credit possible, but you could opt in or opt out. And we even talked about just doing a flat amount. Somebody even mentioned a gift card for $250. Everybody got just that amount. Then you didn't have to fool with the taxes. You didn't have to figure things out. You didn't say, oh, this person got more because they have paid more. This person got less. Everybody was everybody was the same. I liked that better than doing the tax credit because some people get a little benefit, some people get a lot of benefit. So I agree with the flat rate, but it doesn't have to be associated with a tax. We can say, we are going to give this stipend of 250. The taxes are what they are. We will issue, however we decide, in a check, in a gift card, however we want to do it, the amount that we wanted to do. We had talked about $250 because that was the average. 500 is the maximum, 500 is the maximum, in which most people didn't come near applying, qualifying for. But we talked about the average, which it's not 250, excuse me. We talked about 250 when we talked about this a couple of years ago, but it looks like the average is 296, which would be 300. That's what I would recommend. I would recommend going with the average 300 across the board. Anyone who meets the criteria for all the training and hours.
Madam President?
Yes.
I think that part of what we were trying to do is capture people who live in our community but volunteer in other communities. So they would be paying their taxes in McCandless. But the way if we did a flat rate just to our volunteers, then we lose the ability to, because we had a reciprocal thing with several communities. If they had people living in their community that volunteered in ours, they were the beneficiaries of the tax credit in that community, but we would be eliminating our ability to do that. I agree with the flat rate idea, and I don't know enough about the tax code to know if you could just say that we're offering a $250 tax credit from your real estate or your EIT for volunteers, rather than having it be percentage based. I guess they just have to overcome that $250 minimum first.
Are there other comments?
Can I say something? I just think when I think about all the time that they give to our town and the late night calls and stuff, I just don't feel like we are average. I don't feel like McCandless is average. I think we are above average. And I feel like you know, these men and women deserve more than $250. And to be honest, I don't think gift cards, I'd rather it just be a check, whatever, you know, in a higher denomination, just because, you know, let them spend it as they wish, rather than like a Home Depot gift card or whatever. But I just think that they deserve a lot more than what we can even give. But that's just my opinion.
Quick question, just
Councilmember Smith.
on if it were to be a gift card or a check or whatever, if it were something flowing from the town to the volunteer firefighters, and this is probably a question more for Steve than for anybody else, but maybe somebody else knows the answer. Is there an income tax implication to that at all? Like, are we getting past the threshold of, you know, a de minimis type thing? Because that would complicate it, right? Like if we say we're going to give whatever the amount is, a $350 gift card or check, but all of a sudden that results in a 1099 or some other, you know, miscellaneous tax income, that would complicate it greatly. To me, it would complicate the issue greatly to me. So do we know if there would be a tax implication to the volunteers if it was structured that way?
I mean, I haven't looked at that issue. I don't know if Bob knows, but I will tell you that you can set a flat rate as your tax credit. It doesn't have to be percentage based. So you can look at it that way too. I'm not 100% sure. We can look into that if that's the direction council wants to go, to ensure there aren't any additional tax issues that the volunteers would face, because I see what the issue would be there. But we would have to look at that to make sure.
Yeah, I mean, because just as an example, when I had the restaurant, if I had somebody come in and do like a cleaning for $40 and it was a one-off thing for whatever, that's fine. You can do that and you don't have to record that as income. You know, that's a de minimis, like odd job type thing. But once you get past a certain amount, and I don't even think there's a set amount, it's just kind of a, you know,
You're right about that. That's why I can't answer the question.
Right.
It's not, there isn't a dollar amount.
Yeah, and so my only point with that is to keep in mind there may be a big difference between giving a flat tax credit, whatever form it takes, whether it's income or real estate, versus cutting a check back, which I wouldn't be opposed to, but what I would hate to do is take away a $400 tax credit for a $400 check that ends up having taxes withheld from it.
Councilmember Clooney?
I like the idea that council just provided, saying a flat tax credit makes starting to make more sense to me than a gift card or a check. Just you know, don't think it would happen here, but you never know. You turn on the nightly news and there's people cutting checks to themselves and things like that. And again, this would never happen to McCandless, but it would avoid any potential for anything like that by providing more in terms of a flat tax credit to our actual citizens here living in McCandless.
The problem with the flat tax is that some people don't pay that level of tax. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, if you set this at 300,
right,
they may not pay $300. They may only pay $150. So so they wouldn't get that full benefit.
I understand. I'm trying to balance.
I know. It's not an easy here. It's not an easy thing. I mean, it's not an easy thing. We wrestled with this a couple years ago, now a couple times now, you know, trying to figure out what's fair and, you know, what works.
And a quick look makes me think that Councilmember Smith is on the right track regarding the taxability of this. And it's only a quick look. I'm like Steve, I would need to to
we-
research it a little bit more.
Just so council knows, we looked at it from the perspective of if we did this, would we create a paid fire force, which comes with a whole host of other issues, and that answer is no. If you were to do a gift card or check or something like that. So another thing to think about on the flat, and again, I'm not trying to direct anybody anywhere, just food for thought, is that you could set a flat credit, but you could make folks eligible for it in combination under both scenarios, right? So the max credit you could receive is X dollars, and you can get there from earned income tax. You could get there from property tax. There is the potential that at that point, the playing field may even a bit. But for retirees who are likely not paying earned income tax, most pension payments, most Social Security payments are not taxable under the EIT laws in Pennsylvania. So they would be primarily focused on the real estate tax, but they could reach the maximum under a real estate tax scenario. Some folks who are sort of entering into retirement, sometimes there's an easing and they may earn some monies, and that would also add unto the property tax if they had that kind of scenario. But I will tell you that Kim and Bob and I spoke about this at length on one of our bi-weekly meetings, and I don't envy the decision maker because I really don't think that there is a good or right answer. I think you all have to go with your best guess and see how things turn out. And if it's not working the way you want it, remember, you can always amend the ordinance to change it if somebody is not, if there's some inequity that comes out of it after you take your best shot, you can always do that. So, don't let the perfect get in the way of the good. That's all I have.
Good words, good words. Any other comments? Councilmember Smith?
I'll pass for now because I think Councilmember Sponholz has been trying to get in and I've cut her off like twice.
I apologize. I've not seen you. Go ahead.
Right next to me on the screen and I keep seeing her hand pop up, so I'll defer.
I'm not seeing it at all.
Thank you. So I actually had a couple questions, but the first one, Mr. Grimm, when on your spreadsheet, when you're talking about the current method for the current eligible 63 eligible firefighters, is the median income a number that is a McCandless median income number or median income of those eligible firefighters?
That's the McCandless median income.
Okay. So, because I'm kind of reacting, I just want to make sure I understood from Council President Zachary's comment, because the conceptual potential real estate tax credit was also, again, just based on a McCandless median home value. And that's the 296, but leads to the credit of 296 based on home value. It just seemed to me, which kind of goes back to what a couple of others have mentioned, that I don't know, I don't think I can get from this what is the actual average of what is being paid out today to eligible firefighters. I don't know if you know that number, but I would at least not want to. I agree with the thinking that these people are called out at all hours of the day or the night, and that I would want to err on the side of, I too support a flat number, but that it be a number that is at the very least consistent with the an average of what the current eligible firefighters are getting, and certainly nothing less than that, maybe even a bit higher, to just get to an even number. So that's a comment, and I'm not trying to further make this more complex, but if it was and and or with combining, because I too suspect the tax implications would be a negative thing for these firefighters if it was just a gift. But if it could be used for either earned income or real estate taxes, what happens if it's a retired firefighter who is not paying any earned income tax and they rent a villa at Vincentian or something? Food, you don't have to answer that question, just food for thought, because I think the idea is to try not to exclude, but to be inclusive, to reward these public servants for the efforts that they make. So anyway, those are my comments and question.
I just wanted to pass along to Councilmember Swanholz. We are trying to get exactly what you just asked for, the average that is actually paid out. We're working with Keystone right now to try to put that report together for you. We just didn't, we weren't able to get it prior to this meeting because of the confidentiality of some of the tax records. We have to be careful in how we're asking that question. So, but we are trying to receive to get that information.
I think it would be, at least for me, it would be a meaningful piece of data to make further our decision making on what is a right number, and think about how to make sure that that it's inclusive to all.
Okay, we'll work more at getting that.
Councilmember Smith.
Yeah, I think before my concern was that, if we had the real estate tax credit, that it would end up being more than what the income credit would be. And so, basically the retired, the volunteer firefighters who were retired from their everyday job would end up getting a bigger benefit. If the average numbers that you sent around kind of hold true-ish, at least to some degree, then that worry goes away, because it looks like on average, the real estate tax benefit would be less than the income tax benefit. And to me, if that were the case, like right now we do a $500 credit for income tax max. If you don't pay that much in tax, then you don't get the full credit, but that's just how tax rates work. And so to me, it would be fine if those numbers somewhat hold true, it would be fine to me to extend that to, income or real estate, with the additional question of, is that something we can realistically track? Or, just with the systems that we have, can we offer okay, you can elect to take it as an income credit or as a real estate tax credit? Or is that kind of a bookkeeping nightmare or a record keeping nightmare for the town? I just don't know how easy that would be to actually administer that.
Yeah, I was going to say, my initial reaction to that question is it would simply, in essence, be a check. We'd pass a credit, the credit information on to Keystone for earned income, or we handle it internally for real estate. So that really isn't much of an issue from a procedural standpoint.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, to me then, if we have the 500 max right now as to income tax, then to me, I would be curious to see if the numbers that Councilmember Sponholz was talking about kind of change that equation at all. But to me, just a $500 credit either or. I think if you start getting into a combination, that gets a little difficult, You know, if you say, okay, well, you can use $386 of the credit towards your income and then the remaining 114 towards real estate, I think that might get a little complicated. But if it's an either or, that's my thought.
Other comments? So what I'm hearing is that we agree that we think it should be set so that it's the same for everyone. Is that what we're saying? Okay, I'm getting lots of nods. Okay, good. All right, so it'd be the same. So however we decide to do this, we want it to be fair, even, equal, equitable across.
Okay.
That would still be limited by the taxes that each individual actually pays, though.
Maybe not. It doesn't have to be related to taxes. So it can be totally not related to taxes. So if we start out with we have to start out with some kind of premise. So if we start out with a premise that we want it to be the same across, then we have to figure out how to make it a same across, which means if you rent and you don't work, or if you work and you live in a really nice house and you make a whole lot of money, how are we going to set that? Now, I think Councilmember Sponholz has a good point about those numbers. Actually, when I looked at those, I thought that was the average for those individuals. It doesn't make sense to me why we would take the average of the whole town. It should be the average for those individuals. So I just assumed that's what that was. That was a good catch for you, Councilmember Sponholz. And I think once we get that information, we could look at that and see what that actually looks like and see what benefit people actually have been getting. And then we could go from there. Because if people are actually only getting average $100 benefit from this, then we may want to change how we're doing it. Or if people are actually getting the $400 benefit, then we need to change. We need to go higher with what we're thinking, or if we're thinking lower. So I feel like we need to wait on those numbers. What do you all think? And then when they come back, bring this up again.
That's fine.
Great.
So Bob's gonna give us the breakdown, right, Bob?
I'll work with Keystone to get the average of those who are currently earning the earned income tax credit. And I'll do some double checking with the other local communities. I believe most of them are at $300 or less maximum.
Yeah, I didn't recall anyone doing the full 500.
No.
No, nobody was doing the full 500. At least before, when we did this originally, no one was doing the full 500. Doesn't mean we can't, but just that's not what the other municipalities were doing. So, all right. So we are a set number. We don't know what that number is. We're going to get some more information. We're going to visit this again.
I'll give you options once we have that information.
Okay. Was there anything else that we needed to have here or discuss with this?
No, I have some marching orders. That's good.
You always have marching orders.
Yeah, I know. I always have marching orders.
All right, then. If there are no other comments about this, we will move on to new business. And we have a resolution about our county hazardous mitigation plan.
We have Dan Stack and Steve Wilharm from Allegheny County available to explain the plan a little bit better than I could, and further explain what you would be doing by approving this.
So I see Dan in the list of users. There is no one with the name I'm looking for the other person to join, but maybe he has a different username on his Zoom. So
Steve, if you're here, put your name in the chat box and your alias also.
I see a couple people that I don't have identified, but I don't know which is the right one.
Dan, you are our emergency manager.
That's
for
correct,
the-
yes.
For the town.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
And file that, and then guess what? They can't go to the ball field anymore.
is, okay.
Okay.
All right.
Let me-
I
let
was
me
just
see if
gonna
I can-
ask you, Dan, if this was, this was your recommendation, and if you thought this was what we needed to do, and you were pleased with it, and
Oh,
Try again.
he's
you
muted.
got things worked out where you are.
I just sent another microphone request whenever he's able to.
Yeah, I apologize. I got dogs barking in the background. Yeah, I fully am looking forward to this. Steve Wilharm's on here. I believe he has a code of like T08 or something. RJ.
Oh, yes, I can send him the mic and camera request now.
Sorry about that.
All right, sir, you are on microphone.
There's Steve. Dan, why don't you go ahead and get started unless
Sure,
Steve is.
absolutely. So sorry about that. If you had the opportunity to look over that, it's very lengthy. However, it's more or less a informational document more than a plan per se. So what the county does every 5 years is we have to take a look at the plan, update it, and then each municipality has to then review it, put any changed information that we have to into as far as our infrastructure, any of the other community growth that we may have, anything else that we need to take into consideration. We then take into account a lot of the hazards that we had encountered within this 5 years, ranging from everything from a fire all the way through to, obviously like hurricanes, natural disasters, fires. And then we have to kind of, identify each and maybe the areas that we are lacking. Each municipality then has to then review it, adopt it. So therefore, if we do happen to come across any of these natural or man-made disasters, then we can then we would then qualify for any of the federal monies that would be come out as a result of this this disaster. Steve, are you on yet?
I've got him unmuted.
In the meantime, did we get the full resolution? Because I think we only got like a 1-page resolution or the full plan. I'm sorry. Because I think we only got a 1-page resolution that adopts the plan.
It did come to us.
You should have received a
couple weeks ago.
Okay, my email. So I looked at it previously.
Yeah, because it was going to take a couple weeks to read it.
Mhm.
So thank you for giving us that ahead of time, so we didn't have to spend the entire weekend reading.
Exactly.
I did have one question on this resolution, and that's resolution number 5. Is it said with citizens, it's the 1, 2, 3, 4th whereas, and it says citizens of the town of McCandless. Did we have people on this committee?
Myself, and at the time it was Partridge Venture Engineering. But as far as citizens, I don't think they really reached out for
I could
any
see
feedback for that.
I could see where you would the officials would be there. I just wondered if there were any citizens on there. If there weren't, we probably ought to take it off there.
Right.
That was the only thing that I had a question about it.
Dan is a citizen too, remember?
Yeah, but he's more of an official.
Steve Wilharm says that he's on. He's trying to talk, but they can't. He's unable to get through.
Would you mind asking if Russ / Madeline or Bailey Yordanoff would possibly be
No, he's
connected to
got
him?
T is in Tom 084126 is the
Yeah,
code.
that was him.
Yep. Yeah,
He
I
changed
changed
his
the
name.
username to Steve Wilhelm, but that is indeed the box I have unmuted and cameraed.
Was there anything else you needed to tell us, Dan?
No, not necessarily. I apologize for this. I just wanted him to be present to kind of give you a little bit more
Sure.
background to kind of the whereabouts and the history of it as well.
Dan, how long was the process? I just don't recall.
Let's see, we started in it was right before COVID, so it was about a 6 or 8 months. I think is when the time frame where I'm not having it. It was 1 year, I believe it was.
Oh, that's a while.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions? Councilmember Clunin?
Yes, thank you, Marshall Stack. Thanks for the time you put into this. I'm just curious, you mentioned that this plan is revised or reissued every 5 years, and you look at changes. What sort of changes have been suggested since our last plan was in place?
Well, as I said, this really isn't a plan. It's just our infrastructure has changed, our population, and we look at the mid rises, the elderly living. We also take into a great part of that is the mitigation we take into an account with the stormwater. There's still a lot of municipalities that don't take as much care, I guess we can say, with the stormwater. I think we do a fantastic job with that. However, with the large amounts of elderly senior living that we have is a huge impact on us, on our services, and how we future plans for that.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions for Fire Marshal Stack? Okay. I'm sorry we weren't able to communicate with Steve. I am ready to entertain a motion if there is a motion. Councilmember Clunin?
Okay. Move to approve tentatively identified resolution number 5 of 2021 regarding the county hazard mitigation plan.
Second.
Okay. Councilmember Schweigert. Again, last call for questions or comments. Okay. Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Now we're on to resolution number 6. Dan, you're on again.
All right, I get 2 times.
Yeah, you do.
Right. Yeah, so this is something we just needed updated from a number of years ago. So of course, after 9/11, the federal government adopted the NIMS, and that's the National Incident Management System that we are asking all of you to go through a couple of different trainings for requirements for all the public and private sectors. In 2006, the first version of the NIMS adoption was implemented. And then in 2011, due to some changes in legislation, the current version was then released. Without adopting NIMS, the municipalities again may be denied post-disaster funding from the states and federal levels. So that's why we want to make sure that everybody's on the same page as far as all this is concerned. Maybe some of your trainings coming council members, I'm sure you're familiar with some of the terminology and whatnot, but we just want to make sure that you guys are up to snuff with everything, and you can kind of, when we start talking lingo, everybody's on the same page with a lot of these things.
Are there any questions for Fire Marshal Stack? Okay, has anybody gotten their all their education modules finished? Council members? All right, I haven't done mine either yet. All right, is there a motion?
Madam President,
Yes, Councilmember Woods.
I move to approve the tentatively identified resolution number 6 of 2021, updating the National Incident Management System policy.
All right. All right, Councilmember Smith. Second call for questions or comments. All right, hearing none. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right. Motion carries. All right, the next is a housekeeping item. When we made this resolution in 19, or when we made this decision in 19, we did not make a resolution. We weren't told that we needed to make a resolution, but apparently we need to have one. Bob, do you want to just make the short version of what this is so people know what they're voting on?
Yeah, during the contract negotiations with the Kansas Police Association, there were some changes made to the deferred retirement option plan that the town offered. That change essentially lowered the eligible age from 53 to 52 years of age. Did not change the experience or service requirement associated with
years of service
requirement. So there's very little, if any, impact on the plan itself as a result of this change, primarily because of the years of service requirement. So this is something that had been approved back in 2019 as part of the contract, but we just need to have this resolution put in place to amend the personnel or the pension policy itself.
Are there questions about that? Good. Okay, all right then. Do I have a motion? Councilmember Sponholz.
I move to approve tentatively identified resolution number 7 of 2021, amending police pension plan to update DROP provisions per collective bargaining agreement addendum effective January 1, 2019.
Second?
Second.
Councilmember Clunan. Okay, all right. Questions, comments? Hearing none. All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Motion carries. RJ, do you want to talk about the bond reduction?
I can.
Or I mean, whoever's going to. I mean, I'm not putting you on the spot. I just thought you might. You're a land use person, but I don't see our engineer.
Yeah, sure. I can. That's no problem. So basically, whenever we get one of these bond reduction requests, the developer is essentially putting in, like, I have completed, such and such amount of work. Sometimes it's a sidewalk, a road, grading work, things like that. Basically, the public improvements that we bond developers to, once they have completed certain parts of those public improvements, they can request to have their financial security, aka their bond, reduced based on what they've completed. So the town engineer reviews those requests. In this case, this is one of the McCandless Square Senior Living requests. The town engineer has reviewed it and agreed to the explanation of why they're requesting the partial release of some of their security funds. So that is what is before you today.
Are there any questions about that? Okay, is there a motion?
Madam President,
Councilmember Woods.
I move to approve the bond reduction for McCandless Senior Living.
Second.
Okay, Councilmember Sponholz. Any questions or comments again? All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. From time to time, we get resignations before the end of terms for our committees, authorities, and boards. And we have a couple here this evening. So yeah, could I have a motion for the first resignation?
Madam President,
Councilmember Sponholz,
I move to approve the resignation of Jessica Smith Amara from the Environmental Advisory Committee.
Second.
okay, Councilmember Swagger. All right, we're always sorry with resignation, but we understand that sometimes life doesn't allow us to do everything we want to do. So questions? Hearing none, all those in favor of accepting the resignation indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, resignation accepted. We also have a resignation from the Heritage Center. Who would like to make that?
Madam President,
Councilmember Smith,
I move to approve the resignation of Robert Potter from the FDPC.
second. Councilmember Clunin. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed? All right, resignation is accepted. Personnel Board,
Move to approve resignation of Charles Conley from the Personnel Board.
okay, Councilmember Swagger, is there a second?
Second.
Was that Councilmember Woods?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I didn't see your mouth move. Pretty good. All right, all those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Is there any other new business? All right, hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So
So
moved.
Moved.
We all want to get out of here by 9.
We all.
Have a unanimous motion to adjourn. So there cannot even be a second. Unless Town Manager Grimm would like to make.
Sure.
All right, let's see. We'll make Councilmember Woods, and then we'll take Councilmember Clunin. I think you guys were like the quickest ones. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed? Meeting is adjourned. Good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Good night.